Hey peeps, part three, and yeah, it goes on. It goes on and on and on. Was just talking to a friend today, and he suggested the rucksack that the fool is carrying are the fallen one's technological gifts to humanity. Isn't that clever? Of course, there's lots more clues that this is extremely old. The cup, extremely old in Judaism, and it's a basis of Christianity. It's the root of the word kitchen, cuisine, church, cathedral, in my view. It's right there. The cups are a suite of the tarot. Why can't you trust? Why is all modern etymology is all wrong? Why can't you trust it? I'll tell you why. Because these people believe that all the modern European languages are recently created. As such, they can only source whatever they want from Greek or Latin, which makes no sense applying a different country's language to another country, especially if it's a different language family, and those people were not brought up together; they were brought up in different locations. So we come up with our own to explain the worldwide mythology, etc. And one of the things we covered in the previous video, let's reintroduce it, the wax of the Wana, I've noticed. Wana is obviously Janus. So when the moon is waning, it's a Janus, it's being a Janus. And we see possibly a consort of Janus in Waxa. And how I make my discoveries, I turn over words in my head. I'm turning them over and I'm thinking and thinking and thinking. And I think, oh, hang on a second. Uxor is a woman in Latin. Also, you're vexed. Waxa is waxing and waning of the moon. We see two halves of the year, two Januses, January and June. These are the Germanic. Latin moon words would be maximum, minimum, because they start with MA, like the moon in Germanic. But these are minimum. The waning is Axtus in Latin, and the waxing is crescente. In other words, cross. So for some reason, they call a crescent moon basically a cross. Basically a cross. It's the Germanic word for cross is in the word crescent for the Latin crescent, which is the waning. In other words, Janus is a cross, and we're going to see that because we're going to relate that to the Sator square, in which you clearly see the Janus religion, and people don't know this. Also, the Fool. We saw at Göbekli Tepe that Janus, they're Tor hammers, but they're also Januses. So that means Tor, or Tiu, or Tyr, or Deus is being associated with the giving god, but he's also being associated with Janus the year. And the giving god is also the Fool in tarot gifts. Tarot. The word tarot is based on the root dar in Polish, the Slav language. You can expand that out to any of the Slav countries. It's all similar words. It means gift. A tarot is a gift of the gods. And it just gets more and more complicated. Because the word card, you clearly see it's from the word great or cross. See the landscape Christianity videos. It's called great. It's also done across grass, long stretches of grass across the landscape. Gross, huge. A deck of cards, the root is Deus, God. Day. And you see let's play cards. In other words, you see from the root, let's play cross. Let's cross them. So that's an early tarot game. There's more that relates to Göbekli Tepe, and that is this thing here, the tower. This is what this tower looks like. I love these illustrations, just so nice. So this means that's the real death card. That's the silly one. You don't want that one. But anyway, see the root? Tu. or Tyr, or Thor. So Thor's hammer. Tyr, Thor, hammers of Göbekli Tepe. The hammers, the Thor's hammers we've talked about. A suite of cards. This suite is cups. This suite is pentacles. This suite is swords. A suite is a room. It's almost as if we'll put these cards in this room, we'll put these cards in this room. I'm just trying to see how, I'm trying to think how this would have been done in an earlier time, but it's really, we really can't do it. It's almost impossible to do. Now the Sator square, it's unknown. The Sator square, we don't know what they are. They seem to be good luck, and it's clearly, to me, it's the pyramid religion in the form of a square. Now the Sator square is related to the 4-suite tarot layout, and we're going to see that and a lot more. It takes the form of a cross in the middle surrounded by an Ouroboros, which is basically the earth. So the earth's in the middle, the snake's around the earth. That's the symbol of the earth. So it could be done like a rosary. There could be many ways to interpret it, and we've lost the knowledge of how you'd play with this thing. We just know that you put them on a wall for good luck, or on your doorway or something like that. And people have looked at the Sat and they've said, is this a prayer to Satan? And people have seriously come up with different prayers to Satan, it seems to be talking about. And then it's got a cross in the middle, so what's going on? It's one of these instances where you see that the cross is older than Christianity. But I've noticed other gods. There are actually many gods mentioned here. Firstly, it's got a couple of Latin words like opera, which is work, rotation. Then that Sat. Ooh. So it could be like a rosary. You choose your own direction. Like you go Sator, and then you could go that way, or then you could do that. And then each one could be a prayer or like a rosary. But here's what I've noticed. We know there's a tenet cross in the middle, and what's the N doing there? The N implies Ena. This is Anu, Janus, and that's why it's symmetrical about the middle, but it's not symmetrical where there's no N, you see. Actually, diagonally, it's also not symmetrical, but it's symmetrical where the cross is. So Anu is a cross. Anu is symmetrical. And there's Anu Janus right there in the Sator square. Janus is the cross, same as at Göbekli Tepe. The Janus Tor hammers, they're Janus faces and they are crosses, and here it is, Göbekli Tepe religion in the Sator square. But I've noticed other gods. There's Rot, Rotas is Rod, Rudra. There's Satan, which is Stor, obviously. But there's another one. The supreme god is Te, inside the cross, Deus, or Tyr, or Thor. He is in the cross, and he's fourfold. But there's something else going on here, because this isn't a fourfold thing, is it? It's a 5, 5, 5. So who's 5? Well, it turns out Shiva is 5. So Shiva in Slav language means life, as we know. But for the South Indians, he's got 5 faces. And it seems to be a pyramid. He has a north face, an east face, a south face, a west face, and an up face. So, this is life, but it's also Shiva. And it's also a pyramid. It's like looking at a pyramid top down, and he's facing up, but he's facing all these directions as well. So, I would imagine that you would say a prayer to each direction to sanctify the landscape. And furthermore, the Sator square, because it is a pyramid, it would be placed in a very central location, like a capital city or the center of a country, etc. But there's more. Remember in tarot we were talking about the 4 suites and the 4-fold layout. Well, this is now related to that, because suddenly we see, and this is interesting, it's 25 letters. Now, it's not 22 like Major Arcana, but it is kind of similar. It is kind of similar, which is interesting. It is similar to an arcana. So I would imagine you could lay out you could lay out cards in such a manner. So these cards are the God cards. These cards are the for this God, for that God, for that God, and pretty much that's what we see. We see in these cards the Tower is Deal, and it goes on and on and on. These are all ancient gods. What else do we have? Any more? That's about it. So a saddle square is lucky. You'd use it for luck because you can see why. It's a cross. You cross yourself, you get lucky. And pyramids were lucky. And in Asia to this day, I asked a Chinese woman, okay, in Asia, I said to her, they still build pyramids in Asia. Why? And she said, oh, for good luck. So a pyramid means it's done for luck, but it's also done for life, to bless the landscape, the different corners of the landscape. And that's an Asian tradition that's in ancient Egypt, showing where the founders of ancient Egypt took their culture. So hope you've enjoyed. That was part 3. Not so much about the cards, more about explaining the theory behind, sort of. Okay, guys, cheers.